Welcome to Fintech Chatter News, presented by Tier 1 People, leaders in fintech executive search. Follow us on your favorite podcast player or Fintech Chatter TV on YouTube.
It has been a massive week for the Aussie Fintech industry. Intersekt 22 was bigger and better than ever. 2 days of conversations, insights, friendships being made, and connections being formed, along with all the reunions, laughs, hugs, and parties. Out of the hundreds of conversations I had, I managed to record a few to share with you. I speak to fintech legends, founders from the next wave of fintech startups, and also chat with some of the unsung heroes behind the scenes. Here's a chat with Trenna Probert from Superfierce. We featured Trenna earlier this year and fully support her mission to close the gender wealth gap. We chat about her progress and some of the mental health challenges for founders. Please remember, it's okay not to be okay. And I'm always here for a chat if you need one. Trenna, great to see you.
Great to see you as well, Dexter.
Intersekt. What are your thoughts?
I'm actually really pumped. I was just chatting to some of the people out there and saying that last year was my first Intersekt, and it was a pretty wild ride. I made some amazing connections, including yourself last year. But there's a really amazing energy that I'm feeling this year, and I'm not sure if that's because I feel more at home. But something that's been super cool is I've noticed there are a lot more really powerful, cool, awesome women around the corridors this year, and I think that's kind of cool. I think that's a really good sign.
Yeah, so I've got to be honest, I was talking to two of those really cool, powerful women earlier, and one of them was mentioning to the other one that they should check out Superfierce.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Maybe you should introduce me to them.
It wouldn't surprise me if you didn't already know them, but I think it's, one of the reasons I wanted to have a chat with you is you were on the show earlier this year and we talked about some of the kind of challenges that you were looking to address, and it was a really nice kind of piece that we gave a little mention to last week on the news show about some of the progress that you've made. So I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we took a bold step into a pretty challenging space, but we think it's important because we're trying to solve a really big problem. So the gender wealth gap is a big problem, but we're addressing the gender retirement gap first. And so, to over 5 months to put $117 million back into the retirement savings of women feels pretty good. But, it's not easy, right? So we're working hard. Over, just the last month or so, we released our Fierce Performance Index, and something kind of cool has come out of that. For any super fun people out there, I need to let you know I was a little bit afraid that one day you were going to notice that we're here. But when Fierce Performance Index came out, something cool happened, which is, a lot of the big funds started reaching out to us and saying, hey, this is really cool what you're doing, and, can we help to make it easier for you? And then there were others who were reaching out and going, hey, we didn't quite make it onto the index. What could we be doing better? What do we need to do to improve what we're doing for our members? And, that was always a massive aspiration, that we'd actually become a force for good and almost a benchmark that people aspire to. Something else that's happened is we've now had financial advice companies and accounting firms reaching out to us and saying, wow, this is super cool. How can you have a near zero marginal cost digital SOA? Can you build one for us? Or can we license your software? So there's lots of really interesting things that are going on. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're still focused on, reaching the grassroots people who actually need our services, and we're really starting to see that growing. So, we've had a 5-fold increase in leads and reports and switches over the last month.
Wow.
And that's just because, for the first time, we've stopped tinkering just as much under the bonnet and started really getting out there. And so we've started doing a tiny bit of paid advertising and really reaching out and building some great networks and support. But to anybody listening, if you want to partner with us, I need your help. We've got great products and services, and we're shiny and fun and nice, and we'll make sure it's a great ride.
Yeah, and you've only got to follow your Instagram channel to know that. Now, we talked about Intersekt and the energy here. I've said this a few times now, but I'm kind of really very, very kind of pleasantly delighted with what I've walked into this morning, because it is tough out there, particularly for early stage businesses like yourself. How have you kind of found this last 6 months or so, and kind of what's your sense as to where things are at, and how optimistic are you for the future?
Yeah, look, I mean, I am wired to be optimistic. I think to be an entrepreneur, you kind of need to be as well. But I'm a pragmatist. I'm going to be 50 soon, just have to put the plug in for my birthday in case anybody wants to come and celebrate with me in a couple of months. But so, I've seen a lot of this before, I think is probably what helps. Like, I was at Macquarie when we were in the GFC. So, I've seen a lot of these sorts of things before, but yeah, people are doing it tough out there, right? From a consumer level, particularly the women we're talking to, they're desperately worried about the cost of living. They're worried that there's a recession. Are they going to lose their jobs? So at that level, difficult. Then in the business and entrepreneurial community, I see that people are worried. But I think that there is a positive side to that as well. So, sometimes there can be a growth at all costs mentality that I don't believe is necessarily the best way to build a business. So we have a really strong focus on the business fundamentals. The idea of running out of cash is literally the worst thing I could imagine being in the position to do. And as a startup, you're always battling that. For me, the things that really keep me awake at night are just making sure we make really good, strong decisions, strategic decisions about where we focus our time and energy, and therefore our capital as well, so that we can get the traction, start to scale up the growth, so that we can continue to attract more customers and more partners and more capital. So that's not easy, right? There's no magic wand out there to tell you what to do. So, but where I do take some confidence is that we're really careful with the way we spend our money. Yeah. I think sometimes people might think that we should be spending it faster, but I'm pretty happy that we didn't spend it as quickly as some people might have encouraged us to, because we're now still in a strong position. Yeah. And we're switching on the revenue, and but it's not easy doing this, but I feel pretty good about it all, actually.
Awesome. And now, this isn't the type of event where you come and you look to, do lots of sales.
Are you sure, Dexter? I don't know. I was at a dinner last night and I made a beeline to sit next to the person that I wanted to do a deal with.
No, I don't mean like that. I mean, kind of earlier, in early years, be like, sign up for a demo, hand out the pens.
I mean, as far as I go is just try to get people like you to put my temporary tattoos on your head and stuff like that.
Well, I was going to put it on my phone, but I haven't got the video camera with me. I thought we could do a FinTech Chatter exclusive where we'd stick that tattoo on my bum.
It's not too late. I've got my phone.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I would get past YouTube, though. That's the problem. Now, the kind of, we did talk about the energy here. Yeah, it's kind of, to me, it feels like the school reunion every year when I come, right? But what is it that you're hoping to get from Intersekt this year, and what are you most excited about?
Yeah, look, I try to come to these sorts of things sort of heart, mind, eyes wide open, right? Because sometimes the things that add the greatest value are the accidental collisions. Yeah. The conversations, the energy, but it's also the learning, right? I took some real comfort from some of the sessions that I went into today. I didn't learn something new, but it reinforced a belief or it reframed an idea that I had. So it's that collegiate environment, absolutely, the high fives and drinking beer and all of that sort of thing, and coming together with your crazy crew, right? And so there is that, absolutely. It's the opportunity to learn. It's the opportunity to reform those relationships, and just a reminder that we're not in it on our own. Yeah. And I think COVID absolutely created some barriers and loneliness, which it takes a lot of effort to take that extra that extra step to make those. And when you've got everybody all in one place, like I find it quite hard to get into a lot of the sessions because there's a lot of chatting going on in the lobby.
Yeah, and I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head, right? We're all now so dispersed.
Yeah.
Whereas, 2 years ago, pretty much everybody was either at the Sydney Startup Hub or Stone and Chalk in Melbourne. And you go to those two places and you see everyone.
Absolutely.
Whereas now you just don't get that, right? Not just because I've moved away from Sydney, but I think pretty much most people have kind of changed and, they're not coming into the city as much.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think it's very important that we do these things as well. I mean, the sharing of ideas, but the solidarity, because, it's pretty lonely building a business and at different levels. And if you're scaling up, there's other types of stress. And, we're hearing that people are having to lay off people. And, so to be reminded that there are people around who understand what you're going through and who you can actually reach out to, is really important.
Yeah. Now, we're massive supporters of you. My wife thinks you're an absolute superstar and I think loves everything that she sees that you do.
You, give her a big cuddle.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But, if anybody's listening out there, what's the best way for them to find out more about Superfierce?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, which is superfierce.com.au. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. You can follow us on Instagram. I'm pretty findable. I'm also nearly 6 foot tall. So if you're wandering around, I'll be in very bright colours with red lipstick and standing out above the crowd.
Yeah. That's one of the fortunate things about me having no hair is that at least my head shines and stands out.
That's right.
Despite being 5'7". But my daughter informs me I'm taller than Tom Cruise, though.
Look, and there is something else they can do at the moment as well, which is we've got a site called growgold.com.au, and on there they can go and check out our Gangster Granny video, which is a little bit bold and crazy, but has been designed to remind people that the person you are today is the same as the person you're going to be when you're 60, 70, 80, really.
Yeah.
And that the things that you do today are going to mean that you can actually have a life that you're genuinely going to enjoy when you're older. And we've created a game called Blingo, which is just a way to get people, answering some questions, but by clicking on pictures to really build a vision of what their future life might look like. And then we show them actually how much it's going to cost to live that lifestyle, because that's the missing piece, right? So they can go and play that. It'll show them how much they're actually going to need to retire, and I need more. It turns out, for the blingy lifestyle that I was picking out. But then we also show you how I can close that gap. So that's a couple of different ways that you can engage with us.
Cool. Well, lovely to see you again, Trenna. And just makes my heart warm to see that you're smashing it out of the park.
Thank you, Dexter. And talking about what we come here for, last year I came up to you and said, please have me on your podcast. So my dream came true this year, so thanks for that.
Yeah. I've not made many people's dreams come true.
See, this is a match.
Thanks for listening, and make sure to check out our other interviews from Intersekt. If you're coming back, thanks so much for your support. It really does mean a lot to us. And if you're new to the show, hit follow and please leave us a review. It really helps us promote the Aussie Fintech ecosystem to a global audience. If you want to connect with me, reach out on LinkedIn and Twitter. And until the next one, keep safe. Fintech Chatter is presented by Tier 1 People, leaders in fintech executive search. We'll help you build a world-class fintech venture by connecting you to world-class talent. And you can find out more at tier1people.com.